Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today I am joined by Millie Adrian, better known as Modern Millie on YouTube, who is an online educator, YouTuber with over 150k subscribers, teaching all things Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and building an online business as an influencer. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. What an intro. You make me feel so special.
You deserve it. You're smashing it. Yeah. Is that a good description of what you do, would you say? Has that covered everything?
Oh, yeah. I just influencer coach, teaching all the things, like you said, all the things, Instagram, growing your business as an influencer, branding, everything.
Awesome. What got you started in this whole entrepreneurship, digital marketing, creating content online?
Yeah, my journey kind of started, I've always liked creating. I've always been a creative person. Like growing up, I did acting, dancing, musical theater, piano lessons, voice lessons, like just anything creative I wanted to get my hands on. And I was pursuing a career in dance when I had an injury. So I had to drop out of college. I lost my dance scholarship. And during basically a year of being on crutches, I had to find another source of creativity. And I kind of went back to, my brother and I, we had a YouTube channel. So I asked my brother, I'm like, do you want to make YouTube videos again? Back in the good old days? And he was like, no, not really. So I was like, oh, okay, let me do it on my own. So then I started doing kind of vlogs because I always liked the vlog style stuff and posting to Instagram, just my journey of life. And as I started to grow on Instagram, I got a lot of questions of people asking, how are you growing? How do you write your captions? Who takes your pictures? How do you pose? And I've always been one to teach. That's kind of been something that's natural to me. Like I was going to school to be a dance teacher and then getting teaching credentials. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to teach what I know. So naturally, I just fell into that teacher coach role and I just embraced it. It's just part of who I am. And now that's just what I do full time.
Yeah. So was that on the same channel? Do you still have those vlogs up on your existing channel, or did you make a new one to get into teaching?
Yeah, I still have the same vlogs on the current channel, Modern Millie, scroll back in the good old days, taking how I take my Instagram photos, or I still have a few day vlogs there.
And then how long did it take for that to go full time, to go from just a side gig whilst you couldn't dance to something you're doing full time?
Let's see, it took about a year or two. I think the biggest thing that helped me turn it full time was my mindset. As soon as my mindset switched of I will make this happen and this will be my full-time, this is my full-time job. Once that mindset shift happened, that's when I went full-time. Because before I was treating it as a hobby. I was like, oh, it's just for fun. It's what I do on the side. I have a big girl corporate job and that's what I do full-time. And then this is my side hustle. And once I believed no, this isn't my side hustle. This is my job and I'm going to treat it like a job. Once I switched that about a year into it, that's when I started seeing the revenue come in and more opportunity of, I could turn that into an income stream. I could turn that into an income stream. So about a year into it is when I started taking myself seriously. And then a year from there is when I was full time.
Yeah. What made you make that mindset shift? Was it something you got told or just came to it yourself?
Yeah, I took a course so I took a few courses, all about Instagram, blogging, Pinterest. I took so many courses. And there's one course by Christina Galbato. And in the course, it wasn't really anything that she taught that was whoa, mind blowing. A lot of it was oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm gonna implement that. But she said a quote that I was oh, and it just blew my mind. And she said, you deserve to live the life of your dreams. And I was like, heck yeah, I do. I do deserve that. And once I heard somebody say that to me, that was when I was like, okay, all or nothing. Let's do it.
Yeah. That is often the case with a lot of like courses and books and stuff. You get lots of good stuff, and then there's like one or two things that it's just like life changing, and it's just so worth it going through that. I mean, I had a somewhat similar, I guess, experience of growth and income. Like I was doing Instagram stuff in high school, and it was sort of like doing all right, you know, it was doing okay. And then when I finished high school, I was like, you know, I'll give it a year to go full time, and like just making that shift of, yeah, I have to actually get my ass into gear and actually start taking this seriously. Like things just exploded. Which, yeah, once you give it that attention, it's just takes off.
Totally.
Now, I mean, a big part of what you teach and like the audience that you have is around helping people make that transition, like going full time as an influencer. Mm-hmm. What, I guess, what have you learned since then that's helped lots of other people go full time as an influencer that you just think is key for people that are trying to make that same shift?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I learned when making that shift and also teaching that shift is to focus on the moneymaker. My biggest mistake when I left my corporate job was, so I put in like a 2 months notice because I was at that corporate job for a while. I loved the company, respected the company. We needed time to transition and train somebody to take my spot. And so I put in a 2 months notice, had 2 months to transition out. It was fantastic. And then I remember my first day, self-employed, not working for this company. I was like, I'm an influencer. I can do whatever I want. So like I went to a coffee shop and I was like, I'm going to work on my website. And then the next week I was like, I'm going to take pictures for Instagram. And 2 months into it, I'm like, why am I not making money? And it's because I was doing the things that I thought influencers needed to do, like take pictures for content, edit my website, like make sure the about page looks cool, you know, like those things that's not bringing in the money. Like what are the things that will bring you income, and work on those things. And so I had to have a huge reality check of like, okay, shoot, didn't make money the past 2 months. How can I change that? And that's when I started incorporating those different income streams, which would be the next step, is figuring out what types of income streams that you want to have. So I have, like, you could do coaching, selling products, whether it's physical or digital products, affiliate marketing, brand collaborations, platform specific revenue. So like YouTube ads or Instagram bonuses, you know, figuring out what and how you want to create money and that income stream, and then pick a few of those income streams to kind of ride with and grow.
Yeah, I guess that awakening would have come pretty quickly once you'd finished the corporate job, and then you're like 2 months in and you're like, shit, where's the money coming from? Yeah. And what other mistakes, I guess, do you see on like the growth side of things that a lot of people who maybe are trying to build an audience to the point where they can start making a good income that you see people making?
A huge mistake that I see people make is going viral before they're ready to go viral. And what I mean by that, there's a few things I mean by that. Yeah. First, they go viral and they don't have anything set up on the back end. They were just creating content because they wanted to go viral and they wanted to grow. And then they had a video blow up, 2 million views. And it's like, where are you directing that audience to? Why do those new followers even matter? Like, of course it matters, like, woo, yay, growth, platform growth. But how, if you want to turn influencing or any of your platforms into something full time, do you have a lead magnet? At least like growing a freebie email list. Can you send them to a freebie of some sort to build your own email list? So that's kind of like the first thing is when it comes to going viral before you're ready is you weren't prepared to send them anywhere or to keep them and retain them. And then the second thing is not taking connecting with your audience seriously. I've had so many people come to me and even talking with brands, because there's some brands that I partner with, we're really close and we'll just hop on calls and talk about common pain points that influencers have. And one of the most common pain points influencers have is not being able to convert whether it's sales or collaborations. And that's because they focus solely on building a follower number, but they didn't take the time to connect with their audience. So now you have 1 million TikTok followers, but you can't even sell a t-shirt. You know, like you launch merch and you're like, I launched merch, and you try to sell it and like nobody wants to buy your t-shirt. And that's because you didn't take that engagement part seriously. Your audience, those are your people. Those are the people that they're your supporters. They're going to help drive revenue, whether it's buying products or supporting brand collaborations that you take on. If you're not taking your audience seriously and you're not taking the time to invest in them and nurture in them and give generously to them, then you won't be able to build any sort of income stream, because ultimately it comes from the support of your followers.
100%. You got to build that community of people. When you talk about like engaging with your audience and so on, is that like, do you see that mostly as just being active in the comment section, replying to lots of messages? Like, I guess, what can people specifically do to engage with their followers?
Yeah, engagement looks a little bit different on every platform. So for YouTube, my engagement is I try to reply to all of the comments that I get on a video within the first 24 hours. Those people that are there in the first 24 hours, they have my notifications on. They're my number one fans, you know, so I want to be there, respond to them, and I'm listening to their feedback. So if somebody's like, oh, this was such a great topic, I'd love to see how you set up your ClickUp and behind the scenes of the organization of your business. Those are the ones I'm taking into like conceptualization. And then when I create that video, I go, oh, I got a comment from Josh, and he was like, hey, I wanted to see your ClickUp process. And so I'm creating that community within my videos. On Instagram, it's replying to comments and posting to your stories with engaging polls, encouraging people to ask questions and responding to those questions, vote, get in people's DMs. DMs are the best way to nurture engagement on Instagram. And then with TikTok, I love responding to comments via video, because that's showing my audience like, wow, she's actually taking the time to respond, not just a thanks, you know, but an engaged, in-depth video response. So I try to have almost all of my, okay, not all, but like 75% of the videos on my TikTok have another video linking out to it in the comment section.
Yeah, that feature specifically on TikTok seems to just be such an effective one. Like, not only is it building your community with that person that responded, but it's also another piece of content that can go viral and reach tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, of millions of people. And they also all link together. It seems like such a good, I guess, like feature. Like, I know Instagram's got it too, but it doesn't seem to be as, I don't know, doesn't seem to work as well on Instagram.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same effect. The algorithms are two totally completely different beasts, so the approach is slightly different.
Yeah, but great strategy. And I guess not only engaging with those people will help you build a larger audience too, because now you've got more people watching your stuff, liking your stuff, and the algorithms can push it out to more people.
Yeah.
I also like what you said about building an email list. Like, so few people think of that. Like, they put out content on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, but don't actually capture them. And I mean, I feel like YouTube, you get more of like if one video goes viral, you'll probably have a lot of others. Like, the next one will probably do reasonably well. But things like TikTok, like, you can get a video, get 1 million views, and then the next one gets like 1,000. And building that list is so important for building that community. Speaking on YouTube specifically, that's where I first came across your content. I think a couple years ago, where you had a video go viral about story ideas, 12 story ideas or 15 story ideas. It just went crazy viral and got like 1 million views. I think it was about that number anyway, probably more now. But what's your key to like crushing it on YouTube?
Honestly, I mean, there's a few tools that I use that are definitely helpful. So TubeBuddy is a great one. And then I also use Keywords Everywhere. Have you heard of Keywords Everywhere?
I've heard of it. I haven't used it. I love TubeBuddy though. I've used that heaps.
Yeah, TubeBuddy, it's amazing. Anyone who's trying to grow on YouTube, like, TubeBuddy is the go-to.
Yeah.
And then Keywords Everywhere helps me pick specific keywords to target for my videos, and it'll show me like how many searches per month that video or that phrase is getting on YouTube. So it's like, okay, if this search, let's do an example. If I have a YouTube account that has 5,000 subscribers, I'm going to be looking for keywords that have 5,000 searches per month or less. So you want those keywords to be within your same subscriber range. That's probably the best way to target it as you grow, is like target the keywords that have the same searches per month as you do subscribers. And that's kind of been my strategy with keyword targeting. Also, being on trend. I think right now one of my best performing videos is my Instagram Reels tutorial video. And that's because I created that within 7 days of Reels launching.
Yeah.
Like as soon, I knew Reels launching was coming because one of my friends was an influencer and she had access to Reels early. So she's like, hey, this feature is coming out. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to get on that and make a video about it. And so I just went straight on trend. And I don't mean catch every trend. That's exhausting. Don't catch every trend. It's okay to not catch every trend. But pick your battles, pick the trends that you want to hop on early and pick the ones where you go, I'm going to let that person take it because I need to rest. And I think that's something that's helped me a lot too.
Yeah, if you can get early in on those new features or a new platform or something and create content around it, it just seems to go wild, which is good. And interesting you say with like 5K subs, you're looking for keywords with 5K searches or less. Never really looked at it like that personally, but that makes so much sense to try and target those, build up those wins, and then I guess your subscriber count goes up with it.
Yeah.
I guess another platform you do heaps with is Instagram. Like it seems like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok are probably your main three. A lot of people are going on about organic reach dropping off in 2020 and it's impossible to grow and lots of that. Where do you sit on like, I guess, opinions on that side of things?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I also disagree. A lot of people are like, Instagram is dead. And yes, the Instagram that we once knew is dead. And if you try to behave the same way Instagram used to behave, then your account will also be dead. Because Instagram's ever evolving. I think we all know they change every week, basically. That's almost how often Adam Mosseri is posting to his Instagram videos of like, this is a new feature, this is a new thing. So we know Instagram's ever evolving. Are they dying? The old version, yes. So we need to be fast adapting with those features that are being released and are being announced. If you refuse to post Instagram Reels, you probably won't grow. Like there's just some things that you have to, again, pick your battles. And if posting Reels is not your thing, then maybe picking another platform will be your thing. There's so many other options for people and creators to grow. It doesn't have to just be Instagram. If you know where your audience is, and I know a lot of my audience is on Instagram, then it's worth it for me to invest my time and my learning to figure out how to use these new features that they release so I can be quick adapting and so that my account doesn't die with the rest of the old kind of features,
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. The Instagram from a few years ago is, like you say, completely different. What would, I guess, be your specific, like 3 things to focus on if someone wants to build their Instagram audience? I mean, Reels, you've just mentioned, is one of them. What, I guess, would be 2 other things that people should put a lot of time into this year and going forward, do you think?
I think following your audience is super important, and listening and following to your audience. So if your audience really do love your Reels, go ham on Reels. If your audience prefers you to make educational graphics, post more educational graphics. So follow your audience's interests and listen to them. If you currently don't have an audience, find a niche neighbor or competitor in quotes. I don't like to say competitor because like we're all in this together, but find your niche neighbor, somebody who you look up to, you have similar maybe audience types, see what their audience is interested in, and create that type of content. So reels, follow your audience, and even repurposing your content onto other platforms won't hurt. I use maybe the same Instagram reel, repurpose it to TikTok after removing the logo, repurpose it to YouTube Shorts, have your own YouTube Shorts channel, and test to see where your content performs best, because you never know which platform will pick up on you best.
Yeah, definitely like that last one on trying to pick it up differently. Because I guess if you've got longer form content, it might flop on Instagram. Like a 5-minute video probably isn't going to do great on Instagram, but chuck it on YouTube, it could get a huge amount of views and just go crazy.
Yeah.
Do you have a separate channel for YouTube Shorts then? Because I haven't seen them come up on your main channel.
Right. I do not have a separate channel for YouTube Shorts. I will be adapting Shorts into my content strategy probably in May or June. I have somebody who works at YouTube. They've given me a few pointers for how I can implement it. My biggest worry was I don't want it to mess up my feed. Like my YouTube channel, the look of like all the thumbnails, I love the look of it right now, and I didn't want it to mess up my feed. So I will be uploading shorts where it's like every other. So I have my Wednesday video and then a short video, and then my Sunday vlogs and then a short video. So I'll be doing 2 long form videos per week and then 2 shorts per week starting in summer.
Interesting. Do you find that having a big focus on making sure like your feed, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, whatever, like looks aesthetically pleasing, do you find that to be beneficial? Because I feel like half the people say that's incredible and will help you heaps, and half the people are like, ignore it.
Yeah, my answer, I'm going to sound very repetitive here. It really just depends on who your audience is and what niche you're in. So if you're somebody and you have a really laid back channel, maybe you do gaming and it's just really casual, maybe lifestyle, that feed might not matter as much for your audience. Maybe it does matter to them, but for me, I'm educational and I teach. And so I feel like I should portray some sort of professionalism of cohesivity, organization, and structure, because as somebody who's teaching, when people land on my page, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube, I want them to be able to clearly tell what I teach, who I teach for, and how I can help them without them feeling overwhelmed like, all of these looks really messy. They can just clearly see what each video is about and know the value that I provide. So that's a priority for me and my business, but it might not be a priority for somebody else's business where maybe their followers, they're like, I truly don't care about the feed.
Yeah, but I guess a lot of people that are trying to do it seriously and go full-time would probably fall into that camp of like, it is important, would you say?
Yeah, having the branding and the cohesivity of, I like to say, if they land on your channel or your page, wherever the platform is, and within 3 seconds, typically it takes someone less than 3 seconds to decide if they're going to follow you, subscribe to you or not. And if you can capture somebody's attention within the first 3 seconds, having that cohesivity is really going to help make up their mind on the positive side of pressing the follow button.
Yeah, and that's such a big thing, like that conversion rate, I guess, that I think a lot of people don't put enough effort into. I feel like optimizing their profile, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, whatever. Do you have any other tips there aside from making sure your feed is visually pleasing, on point, etc.?
Yeah, having brand colors has helped me a lot. So I have like 5 brand colors that I'm always using and implementing just to position myself as a brand and not so much an individual. It's like, oh, Modern Millie. We see these orange and teal colors, we know it's Modern Millie. And then also being able to communicate the value you provide right off the bat, that's going to increase conversion numbers by a lot. And when I say share the value you provide, I just mean like tell people why they should follow you. Literally in your bio, in your YouTube banner, wherever you can put it, tell somebody, hey, follow me because of these things. Like I teach influencers how to grow on Instagram and land paid brand collaborations. or teaching influencers how to turn their side hustle into full time. Like, that's what I do. And if somebody reads that and they're an aspiring influencer and they want to go full time, they're going to be like, oh, that's valuable to me. You want to cater to their like selfish desires and cater to them, telling them this is how I will show up for you. And if you can communicate that really quickly, it's sold, like game over.
Yeah. That opening line in the bio, right, is just so important.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing with that is like when Instagram see like every time a person that fits this, like with all their data points, they can work out if someone is this person, whatever. All of these people who are influencers straight away follow because they see that it represents, like they see that it's valuable to them, then they're going to push it to like more similar people, which can help you grow faster.
Yeah.
Now, I guess the final platform that I wanted to ask you about was TikTok, which I guess we've touched on briefly, and I feel like you're a bit newer to that one, correct? Like I've seen you go once per day or something for 30 days on there.
Yep.
How are you finding that platform?
So I am a newer TikTok creator. I did a 30-day challenge. I started at 1,000 followers, and right now I have 22,000 followers. So strategies are very similar to Instagram, YouTube, providing value, showing up authentically. Strategies are very similar. What I've learned with TikTok, something that I enjoy, let's say 3 things that I learned. 1, it is so cool to like start a brand new account and choose how you want to be known for. Because I feel like on YouTube and Instagram, everybody knows me as like the Instagram girl. She teaches Instagram, And for me and my brand, YouTube kind of trapped me in that box. YouTube does that sometimes where like one video on Instagram goes viral and now only your Instagram videos will be successful. So naturally that happens, but that's not what I want to be known for. I want to teach influencers everything. So TikTok was a perfect place for me to not teach Instagram. It was for me to teach the other things that I felt YouTube might not allow me because it might not perform as well. So TikTok's such a great platform to choose what you want to be known for, start from scratch, love it. The second thing that I learned on TikTok is that the algorithm behaves completely different than Instagram. With Instagram, the algorithm is very meticulous and it's like, oh, these people liked these types of content, so we're going to show this video to this person. Like, it is very calculated and maybe it's an overthinker, which is why maybe your videos don't get as much reach because Instagram's like, I only want to show this video to people who will accept me, right?
Yeah.
That's Instagram. A little temperamental. But then on TikTok, not as calculated. Like, yeah, of course, they have the similar, okay, yeah, if you like this video, you'll like this video, right? If you like this, you'll like this. They have that algorithm, but they also will see a video performing well and recognize, hey, this video is performing well. Let's send it to anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, people who like Instagram tips, people who like influencer tips. No, they're like, oh, this video is performing well. Let's send it to the entire world and see how the world reacts, right? So it's not as calculated, and that's why videos are able to blow up quicker because the algorithms are a little bit more loose. That's the second thing that I learned. And then the third thing that I learned is that there's a lot more hate because the algorithm is more loosey-goosey because they show my video to literally anyone and everyone and their mothers, and half of those people don't care about influencers, and because they don't care about influencers, they're going to comment on this saying, you suck, I hate influencers, who do you think you are? Like, so the audience, if a video goes viral, it can be a scary territory for somebody who's never experienced that. Yeah.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, it's good that you get a lot of reach, but if you get pushed to people who don't understand the niche or aren't particularly interested, and they might just jump to conclusions because they don't know.
Yeah.
But interesting what you said about the algorithms. Instagram, I guess, is like the person who is scared of failure and only wants to do what they're going to be good at, and then TikTok's like throwing everything at the wall and just hoping something sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you've had good growth on there. Go from 1K to 20K in a month is pretty awesome.
It was fun. It was great. I learned so much just from posting for 30 days. Definitely burned myself out because I was doing like once a day. And then I was like, let's do twice a day. And then I was like, let's do 3 times a day. So I went a little too hard. And I think my strategy moving forward will be doing something a little bit more realistic for me and my schedule.
Yeah. Are you finding those people are flowing over to your other platforms?
Yes and no. I do find that they actually are flowing more into my website and my products as opposed to maybe following me on Instagram, not so much YouTube. I mean, maybe a little bit on YouTube, like sprinkled here and there. But I've actually had, from one of my videos blowing up, I've had a few people they're like, yes, I'm buying her course. And they just like buy my course, which like, that's not a little pocket change, they're like truly invested. So I think converting on TikTok is pretty great when it comes to like growing a business and making sales. And I haven't talked about my course in any of my videos. I'm not trying to get people to join in my course because, I mean, right now I'm still working on the funnels on the back end, so I'm not even pushing it. I'm waiting to get other things like lined in a row. But I mean, the course is there. It exists. I have a landing page for it. There's so much good content in it, and people just happen upon it from TikTok and they join.
Yeah. I mean, that often is the case, like not always, but like if you just focus on content that will help people that is interesting, then naturally they trust you with learning that. And when they want to learn more, like they're like, Millie's the go-to person. So I'm going to buy her stuff instead of the person that's just been pitching them all day long.
Yeah. It's better to just be generous and educate, give valuable information, and then people are going to trust you more. You don't have to sell,
Yeah. So how do you think you'll move forward with TikTok then? Cause you'll slow down from once a day, I assume, or at least not 3 times a day?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would like to post once a day to TikTok, and the type of content that I'll be creating will be split between 3 types of content, and it won't have anything to do with Instagram because, again, I want to be known for more than just Instagram. This is kind of what I teach in general. You have like your growth content and your nurture content. Growth content is usually like that clickbaity stuff where you're trying to go viral. How to get 100 post ideas in 30 seconds, That's the growth content. And then you have the nurture content, which that's replying to comments with a video, engaging with your community, answering their questions. So that's one piece of content. And then you have the other. And then the third piece of content that I'm excited to incorporate is selfish content. And that's content where it's for me. It's for me to have fun on TikTok. And maybe I do like a vlog styled TikTok. And it's not so much I'm trying to grow with it. It's not so much this is to nurture my community. It's just, hey, this is Millie, raw, real. This is what I like to do. I like to make these types of videos, and I'm going to have fun with my platform. So those are the 3 types of videos that I'll be rotating between while I'm posting.
Interesting. Do you find that helps, having that like more selfish content helps with like avoiding burnout and so on? Like you mentioned, you did get a bit burnt out with TikTok previously.
Yeah, it does help with preventing burnout because you're creating stuff you actually love and not stuff you feel like you have to. But it's also been a huge stress off my shoulders when I post. I find I don't look at the analytics of those videos where I'm not like, oh, how did it perform? Are people liking it? I don't really care about that because it was for me. It was nurture content for Millie. It was just like, hey, I wanted to show them this part of my life, and the people who watched it, the people who get it. The people who don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that probably helps, I guess, with nurturing, like without even thinking about it, like just showing off a bit more of your personality and what you're up to and so on. do you have like a process for deciding what you put on Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok? Are you sort of selecting for Instagram and YouTube and then putting everything on TikTok? Like, how do you decide on that?
Yeah, I put almost everything on TikTok. So TikTok is the place where I'll put everything. And then with Reels, I feel like that's a little bit more performative. It's more calculated. It's either like trending sounds or educational content.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes with my TikToks, they look like Instagram stories, right? It's just me sitting and talking to my camera. Whereas maybe that sort of casual video won't perform as well on Instagram Reels because it looks like stories. It didn't capture somebody's attention fast enough. So TikTok is anything and everything. Reels is more those I'm trying to grow content because Reels is what Instagram is pushing to get in front of new eyes. So Reels is like, this is my growth content. And then YouTube Shorts, I haven't tested that yet, so I'm not sure what I'll put on there. I feel like it'll be a combination. It'll lean more towards the TikTok side because I think people on YouTube, they get it. They get the TikTok timeliness, trends, casual talking to the camera, whereas on Instagram, it's different. Instagram community is different, whereas like TikTok and YouTube communities, I feel like are very similar.
Yeah. Okay. I noticed you had a video that did really well. You were doing your makeup or something, and then you just had like an educational voiceover, which I've heard is like a trend that a lot of people have been doing and seeing like good results with, because you're like keeping people entertained with something completely different to what you're talking about. Have you noticed that as well, or?
Yeah, that video performed really well. And it also was a response to a comment from a previous video. So it was like hitting two birds with one stone. It was like, hey, I replied to a comment on a video that went viral. So there's more traffic leading to this video. And then you also have the completion of a task. People like to see a task to completion, whether it's doing your makeup, making your morning coffee, I don't know, drawing a picture, something where they could see the task be completed and fulfilled. It's almost like, I don't want to say it's like ADD, ADHD, but it's like you start something, it's like, oh, now I got to finish it. Like I just saw this person, they're starting to make their coffee. Well, now I want to see them, like, what kind of coffee are they making? So if you show them, give them something visual to watch while you're also saying something educational or telling a story, storytelling is fantastic. It's more likely that person will watch the video to completion, or it'll increase that video's retention rate.
Yeah, it's almost like that sunk cost fallacy. I think it's something along those lines where once you're somewhat invested in it, like you want to see it out. Like you don't watch someone draw half of a painting and then you click off unless you're crazy. But
exactly.
Yeah, they want to watch the whole thing, which then again helps with reach if people are watching it the whole way through. And for people who are trying to go full-time as an influencer, I know this is a tricky question and it comes down to niche, I'm sure, but if you could recommend like one platform that people should focus on, like if they want to build something over the next couple of years, definitely depends on niche, but like, do you have a favorite or?
I, believe it or not, I think people, if they enjoy video content, should be posting to TikTok. I'm excited to see where that goes. I'm also excited to see where Instagram goes with the whole metaverse thing and how Instagram is going to evolve. But TikTok is so new that you're really not late. Like with Instagram, people feel like, oh, I'm so late to the party, which you're not. You can still start an account from scratch and grow it past 10K. Like I teach people how to do that and they do it all the time. So you're not too late on Instagram. But if you're not too late on Instagram, then you're definitely not too late for TikTok. Like the algorithm is still very loosey-goosey and will still allow your videos to blow up. Like I just grew 20,000 followers in a month.
Yeah.
And so to pass up on that opportunity, I think would be a little silly.
Yeah. So I guess if you're trying to start out, like don't skip over TikTok. Use it. Make the most of it. Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people saying that same thing, and I would pretty much agree with it. Like, it seems like everywhere you can get reach, but TikTok seems to be the easiest one to get started with. As you say, it's newer.
It's exciting. It's a cool new platform, and there's a lot of potential there for anybody.
Yeah. Now, I know you touched on burnout a little bit with TikTok specifically, before for like, creating more selfish content. But I know it's something you wanted to mention as well, like we talked about before the podcast. Is there any other tips you would have for creators to avoid burnout on any platform, and I guess in business in general, because it's not just a platform, it can be business too?
Totally. If you're listening to this and you're an entrepreneur, you want to be an influencer, you're a creator, my biggest tip to prevent burnout, whether you feel like you're getting burnt out or not, because you don't feel it coming oftentimes. You don't feel burnout coming. It comes out of the blue. So for anybody who's listening, don't wait to set boundaries now. Because the tricky part is that for us, the reason we're growing these businesses is because we love what we do, right? Usually we're like, hey, I'm growing this business because I truly love creating. I truly love making videos. I truly love teaching. We're all trying to grow this thing that we're passionate about. And because we're passionate about it and we love it, we feel like it doesn't exhaust us. We're like, I just love what I do, so I'm just going to do it all the time. And maybe mentally, you're like, yeah, I'm fine. But physically, your body will burn out and it will get exhausted. And so don't wait to set those boundaries of like, okay, hard stop at 2 p.m., not working past 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, right? Or I'm not picking up my phone on the weekends. Like, set those boundaries now, whether you think you need them or not, because your body needs it. You might not think you need it, but your body physically needs it.
That's awesome advice, firstly. Would you suggest like people do that? They have like a specific time where they shut off for the day or shut off for the week and so on?
I think everybody might look a little bit different for how they set their boundaries. For me, my boundaries have evolved over time because I set boundaries that I think, hey, these are good enough. And then I burn out. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, new boundaries need to be set. And then I burn out and I'm like, okay, how can I set these boundaries? And really what it comes down to is the practical stuff that I would be like, oh, that's stupid and not important. Like, taking care of yourself, working out, moving your body. So what it looks like for me is I don't work until 10 a.m. And I know everybody's going to be different because some people are still balancing a corporate job. So there's ways to integrate your own boundaries with your job and your daily life. But what it looks like for me, I go to work at 10 a.m. Before 10 a.m. is my me time, whether that's sleeping in till 9 or I waking up early at 7 a.m. to go on a walk and listen to a podcast and make my morning coffee. Like, I love making my morning coffee. I don't want my phone near me while I'm doing that. That's my me time. So I have that. And then usually every day I try to stop at 2 p.m. So every day I do a 4-hour day and phone is off. No more phone after that point. I've done a lot of delegating where if a task doesn't bring me joy, I delegate it. I hire somebody to do that task so that I could focus on the things that do bring me joy. On the weekends, no phone. When I'm with family or when I'm with my husband, no phone. Simple things like that. Even if it's like, okay, no phone in the bedroom past 7 p.m. I'm going to charge my phone outside, get a standard alarm clock to wake me up in the morning, but I'm not going to scroll mindlessly on TikTok for 3 hours before going to sleep. So simple boundaries like that you can start establishing into your routine are going to make the biggest difference.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think like you definitely have to have like a hard boundary on when you're checking your phone or whatever, because there's always going to be something to look at or a message to reply to on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. So if you don't put those boundaries in yourself, like they'll give you content forever, and it's not the best to be doing that all day.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't have this written down, but just basically based off of that, when it comes to delegating, how do you go about that? Like, what do you think is like your number one tip for creators, influencers trying to delegate, especially considering a big part of what you do and what creators do is focused around themselves? Like, it's not like a traditional business where there's like a manufactured product that anyone can do. Like, you have to be a big part of it yourself.
My biggest tip for delegating, or I guess 2 tips. Usually the first question people ask me when it comes to hiring is, when do I know that it's the right time? When do I know it's the right time to hire? When you feel you've hit a plateau in your business and you can't grow anymore, or you can't make any more income, or you're doing all the things and you're like, I feel stuck, that's a sign that it's time to hire out. And then when you decide what should I hire out for, make a list of everything that you do. Literally, this is something that I wish I did, and I didn't. And then I hired on a digital business manager, and she's like, Millie, you need to make a list. And I was like, oh, fine, I'll make a list. And then I actually did this step, and I was like, wow, that was so helpful. So every single day, Monday through Friday, or if you work on weekends, Saturday, Sunday, make a list of everything you do that day. Checking your email, responding to emails, creating a Canva graphic, setting up something on the back end of your website. Make a list of every task that you're doing, Instagram engagement, TikTok engagement, recording, blah, blah, blah. And then organize that list. Some people will tell you to do it based off of your zone of genius. And the zone of genius goes at the top, which is basically your zone of genius that's your area of excellence where you love this task, you do this task exceptionally well, and you want to do those things. So that's your zone of genius. And then organize the list as it gets lower to the bottom. Zone of incompetence of either you hate doing that task, absolutely hate it, it drains the life out of you, or it takes the most time. For me, that was the website, setting up stuff on my website took me freaking forever to figure out the back end tech stuff,
Same here.
So it was the worst for me. So organize your list by that, and then circle the things at the bottom that you're okay, these 5 tasks need to be delegated out because they're taking too much time. They're not bringing me joy. I need to find somebody to do those things.
Yeah. And then just work your way up that until eventually keep growing, gets you time back to do what you're awesome at, I guess.
Exactly.
I guess last thing that I wanted to ask before wrapping this up, which has been awesome so far. You said that was one of your biggest mistakes that you'd made, or something you wish you'd done earlier was delegating and so on. Do you have any other big things that you didn't do sooner that you wish you'd done, or things that you sort of did do that were incredible and maybe out of luck that you did them, or just chance that you would highly recommend other people do? Almost like advice, I guess, to people starting out.
Yeah, I have a list. I did so many things that I was I wish I did this differently. So I wish I hired somebody sooner. That would have helped prevent my burnout. I wish I took care of myself and I took myself seriously, because I wasn't taking care of myself. I'm such a type A person where I'm I thrive under pressure. I thrive when I have a lot to do, and I love doing all the things. And I thought I could handle that, but eventually my body gave out and I got really sick. So it's I should have been taking care of myself the entire time. So don't take your body for granted. Another thing is focus on the money makers if you want to make money. If you want this to be your full-time job, focus on the things that are going to make you money. Don't spend 2 hours making an Instagram graphic, focus on the things that'll bring you the income. And then let's see, what's another thing that I haven't said yet that I wish I did differently? I said boundaries, team, money, and with the income streams, everybody says, in order to get a 6-figure business, you have to have to have multiple streams of income. And that's something that even I said during this podcast. But I think my biggest mistake was I was trying to grow multiple streams of income at the same time. When starting out, I should have focused on one at a time.
Yeah.
And I should have just been like, okay, let me master brand collaborations. Once that is mainstreamed and I have a system for that, let's do the next one. Let's start doing coaching, and then let's master coaching, and then let's add this one. So that happens over time. It's not something you have to put your pressure on yourself to have multiple streams of income. It's like master them one at a time, because it's going to be so much easier to manage that way.
Yeah, 100% agree. You see those quotes everywhere, like building multiple streams, or the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. Not sure if that's true, but you see everyone say it. But the thing they often do miss, like you say, is they built one at a time, and then they automated it or got incredible at it, and then they added in another one, or you have passive things like AdSense and things like that. Awesome. This has been an incredible interview and got a ton of gold nuggets out of here for people listening. Where can people find out more about you? I know you've also got a free training too regarding just, I guess, going more in depth on lots of the things we've talked about too. So where can people find all this?
Definitely. If people want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, you could go to YouTube, look up Modern Millie. That's probably where most of my audience is. And I do have a free training for anybody who is an aspiring influencer, specifically for influencers. If you want that to be your full-time job, I have a free training of the 6 steps to become full-time as an influencer. So you could just go to my website. It's modernmillie.com, and there'll be a pop-up that's like, take the free training. It's an hour long. You'll get all the goodness from it. And yeah, that's where people can find me.
Awesome. I'll link those down below. Definitely go check them out. Awesome content on YouTube. Definitely watch plenty of those videos. So go check them out. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.